To the D. Glenn Smith Spectrum, where Utah State and BYU are meeting in a Mountain Rim Gymnastics Conference meet tonight. BYU comes in ranked number 12, Utah State ranked number 21. I'm Adam Larson. With me today is Kaylee Cole. And what are we looking to see from each of these two teams here today, Kaylee?
Yeah, so for both teams tonight, I really want to see the girls compete with confidence, especially as they start to settle into their season. I'd like to see them start to work on those little details, get after those landings, and really start to build momentum through this lineup. Because at the end of the season, that's really what's going to be what separates these teams apart.
Each of these two teams pretty close, and you can see that in the rankings, both in the top 25. For those of you out there unfamiliar with these dual meets, we're going to take a look at the rules here for the dual meets. So the home team will be starting. Each team will have 6 athletes compete in each event. Only the top 5 of them will count. The home team will start on vault, then bars, beam, floor. Away team on bars, vault, floor, and beam. And like I just said, the best 5 scores count. The lowest from each event total will be dropped. There are some exhibitions we're going to see tonight. Those scores, those routines will be scored, but they will not be able to count for the team. And after all of these 4 apparatus, the team with the highest cumulative score wins. So we'll be looking to see what each of these two teams can do tonight. BYU comes in with an average of 196.067, while Utah State behind that at a 195.288. But both of these teams have scored over 196 in meets earlier this year as well. So we'll be looking to see what we can see from each of these two teams tonight. And when we come back, we will have the starting routines from each Utah State and BYU here on the Mountain West Network. Back here to the Spectrum, Utah State and BYU warming up respectively on the vault and bars. And Utah State's got a high this season of a 48.875 on the vault so far. What are we looking to see on the vault from Utah State here, Kaylee?
Yeah, so on vault, we want to see big blocks, body shape in the air. Like I said, we're working on those little details tonight. So I'd really like to see them holding their body shape all the way throughout to the landing and really controlling those landings and honestly aiming for those sticks.
You can see your lineups here on the screen. Utah State in the vault will have Grace Rojas leading them off, then Brianna Brooks, Rebecca Wells, Leighton Varnador, Michaela Meyer, and Angel Stewart. And then BYU over here on the bars, you've got Angel Zong, Lindsay Hunter, Abby Beeston, Elodie Cyrene, Haley Petow, Abby Stainton, and Abby Minor-Alder. So what are we looking to see from BYU on the bars?
Yeah, so we definitely want to see them hitting their handstands, form throughout the air, big height on their release moves, and sticking those landings again.
And BYU's got an average of a 48.908 on the vault, a 49.258 on the bars this year. Pretty strong. They had last week scored a 49.350 on the bars, so they had a great week last week. And there's Grace Rojas getting ready to do her routine here on the vault for the Aggies. And you can see she's wearing that pink uniform tonight. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Night, so a lot of pink going to be in the crowd tonight. BYU's got some pink in their uniforms as well.
And a bigger Chenko full, just a slight knee bend in the landing, a little bit deeper than what we would have liked to see, but overall a really good start for the Aggies. Really beautiful form in the air, but like you see, just a slight hop forward. That'll be about a 10th for the hop and maybe a little bit for chest down.
And here's Angel Zong on the bars for the Cougars.
Big Jaeger connected to shoot over. Gearing up for her dismount here. A beautiful double layout, just a slight hop on that landing. 2 really solid starts for both teams.
Yeah, great starts for both these two teams. Check out the replay on that dismount.
Just that slight hop, but she really sells that landing.
Up next for the Aggies will be Brianna Brooks.
Another Yurchenko full, a little bit of pike down and a pretty decent step on that, but let's take a look at this replay. A little bit of that pike down, and would like to see her maybe control that a little bit more, but that's definitely something she can work on throughout the season.
Still a lot of season left to go, and you want to get better as the season moves on. So
exactly.
Definitely some time to get that down. And here's Lindsay Hunter just waiting for the green flag for her to be able to go here on the bars.
Big straddle to Tkachev there. Oh, and she just tipped that shoot over, but she's gonna try and save it. Fortunately, she was not able to hold on to that, but she's just gonna reset, get a little pep talk from her teammates and her coaches, and finish the routine nice and strong.
That was a close one too. She almost had it.
Yeah, she was really trying to hang on to that. But when you're up this early in the lineup, it's really important to finish strong because you never know what score is going to count.
Mm-hmm.
So she still has a very important job to do. And unfortunately did tip that cast handstand again. That will be another fall. The one thing I do really appreciate about Lindsay right now is she is going aggressive. She is really going for those cast handstands.
And even though this is likely a score that won't count with those two falls, she still wants to go out there, finish strong, because if you finish strong now, she can connect all of these in a future meet and get everything down so she can get that high score, even if it might not be the case tonight.
She's under-rotated that double layout, but like you said, BYU will most likely drop that score.
But things you can work on. Here's Rebecca Wells for Utah State here on the vault now.
A beautiful Yurchenko full. She got so much height on that. Let's take a look at this replay here. And just a tiniest hop on that landing.
And Kaylee, does it make it hard for the rest of BYU here to know that these athletes that are rounding out the bars lineup really have to make sure that their score is going to count after, those few falls by Hunter that is going to drop her score a fair amount?
Yeah, it definitely puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the lineup. But they just have to, stay committed to their routine and really dial into their pre-performance routine, because they were planning on hitting their routines, no matter what. So it does add a little bit of pressure for them.
Well, a little bit of pressure taken off as well as Angel Zong's score comes in at a 9.8. So she does very well leading out the bars for BYU. Up next for them will be Abby Beeston. Over for the Aggies side, Grace Rojas scored a 9.6 on her vault, as well as Brianna Brooks getting a 9.575, and then Rebecca Wells with a 9.750. So a few good scores for the Aggies in the books. And we're still waiting on that score for Lindsay Hunter, I believe. But in the meantime, Leighton Varnador on the vault for the Aggies.
And a beautiful Yurchenko half, just a tiny little hop on that, but it was in the right direction. So it should not be a big deduction at all. Really great form in the air, and like I said, just that slight hop.
And here is Beeston on the bars now for the Cougars.
Really beautiful Ginger connected immediately to a shoot over. Gearing up for her dismount. A beautiful double layout, just a slight hop on that landing, but that was really great, a really great comeback for BYU.
Definitely what BYU wants to see after Hunter's score, but look at that beautiful dismount from Beeston, and looking like she'll be getting a pretty good score there. Hunter does finish on the bars. Her score comes in at an 8.0, so BYU will be needing to make that up in the rounding out their lineup here. And Michaela Meyer will be up on vault next for the Aggies, with Leighton Varnador's score coming in at a 9.775. So the highest score so far on the vault, Varnador just gets.
And a beautiful Yurchenko full, and she sticks that landing. She is so excited, bringing the energy all the way back to their team.
Let's check this out one more time. I'd see this 1,000 more times. Look at this.
Wow, beautiful form in the air, and she just nails that. Oh, you can see the joy in her face. She is so happy.
Meyer's career high on the vault is a 9.875, so we'll see if she bests that with that one. And here is Elodie Cyrene for the Cougars on the bars now.
A really nice chapeau shoot over. And again, a slight hop on that double layout, but a very clean routine.
Check this out one more time on the dismount.
Really clean in the air. BYU is doing a really good job of covering for their teammate and really getting back on track. So that's exactly what we like to see.
And here is Angel Stewart for the Aggies in her first vault that can count.
A lot of power on that Yurchenko full. When we see it in the replay, look for the timing of her twist. She goes a little bit later compared to some of her other teammates. A little bit of pike down and just a lot of power there on that landing. So that will be something that she'll look to control throughout the rest of the season, but another really solid vault.
That is her first official vault that counts. Last week did do the vault against Southern Utah, but did it in an exhibition, got a 9.675. And looking up here on the board, Michaela Meyer scores a 9.9, I believe besting her career high on the vault. Yes, she does by 0.025, so that's a new career high for Michaela Meyer on the vault for the Aggies.
Very well deserved. It was beautiful. The highest score you can actually get on a Yurchenko full is a 9.95. So that vault actually there was near perfect.
And here is Haley Pitu for the Cougars. Here on the bars.
Really nice straddle Jaeger there. She has such pretty lines and is really doing a great job of getting after these handstands. And a stuck full out. That was beautiful. That'll be a big routine for them. Let's watch this dismount here again.
This is something the Cougars really need right now, is just a landing like that.
She really sells that. High fives to all of her teammates.
Utah State will not have any exhibitions here on the vault this week. So we'll just be waiting here for a moment for BYU's Abby Stainton to come up on the bars. Just waiting for those judges' scores, obviously. But so far, what do you like? What do you like what you're seeing here from Utah State on the vault?
You know, I think they went really aggressive, really big air. I think maybe for the next meet we need to work on controlling those landings, but the air and the blocks are huge. And especially Michaela Meyer. I mean, a 9.9 with that near perfect vault.
Just a wonderful vault from her
Yeah,
tonight.
hard to top that.
Yeah. What have we seen so far from BYU on the bars? Obviously, aside from Lindsay Hunter's, rough routine there, they seem to be doing pretty well so far here on the bars.
Yeah, I would say that they're really having their teammates back, and although they have more pressure right now, they're not shying away from it, and they're still going big. In the corner of the screen, you can see she did a beautiful Jaeger connected to shoot over, and is just gearing up for her dismount now.
That's Stainton for BYU.
And a tiny step on that full out.
Just looked like she stepped with that left foot. Here's the replay of it.
Really clean in the air, and yeah, just the tiniest little step, but they'll still be really happy with that routine, and they were able to cover Lindsay Hunter there. So, like you said, only the top 5 scores count.
So Hunter's score will be dropped in all likelihood. Both of these teams doing pretty well so far through this first rotation. BYU actually, their best routine so far in the season is the bars. They have a 49.258 average, and like we talked about, a 49.350 last week. So they've done extremely well this season on the bars, and it looks like they'll have another good night tonight on the bars. And P2's score just comes in at a 9.850. So another good score for them. All of their counting scores so far above a 9.7. And up next for BYU, they will have an exhibitioner. Abby Miner-Alder will be exhibitioning on the bars. Here she is in that right corner of your screen. Now full screen.
Ooh, she was a little bit close on that Jaeger, so had to bend her knees and wasn't quite able to get that connection. And a nice double layout, slightly under-rotated, and just took that one step forward, so that will be about a 10th on that landing. But it's really great to see her out there just gaining confidence and getting numbers under her belt. And she definitely had to wait a long time before that routine, going 7th up in a lineup, especially after the judges took so long to score that routine from Hunter. So definitely not easy.
Not at all. Waiting can get a little nervy sometimes. And Stainton's final score on the bars for the Cougars is a 9.850. So the Cougars rounding that out very well on the bars. Their best routine, delivering again on that one. Utah State with that monster 9.9 on the vault from Michaela Meyer. You can see the final scores for these rounds right here. BYU on the bars with that 48.975, and Utah State on the vault with a 48.650. Unofficial scores as of now, but by the end of the night, we assume these will all be official. We will be back here next with Utah State on the bars and BYU on the vault here on the Mountain West Network. BYU and Utah State, the Cougars with just a slight edge in the first rotation, but the two have switched sides now, and Utah State will be on the bars with the Cougars on the vault. We're gonna check out the lineups here for each of these two teams. For BYU on the vault, you've got Haley Pitu, Lexi Griffith, Rachel Bain, Angel Zong, Avery Bennett, and Abby Miner-Alder. And then Utah State on the bars, you've got Michaela Meyer, Jessica Gutierrez, Eve Jackson, Grace Rojas, Brianna Brooks, and Maya Fishwick. And then the Aggies will have 2 exhibitions with Leighton Varnador and Lexi Aragon exhibitioning for them. And Kaylee, what are we looking to see here for the Cougars on the vault tonight?
Yeah, so technically we're looking for those same things. The big air time, great form in the air, and controlled landings. I will say we should keep our eye out for Abby Alder. She's won the Vault Specialist of the Week for 3 consecutive weeks in a row, so definitely keep a lookout for her in the anchor position. And over for the bars, we should definitely keep an eye out for Maya Fishwick.
Fishwick was named the Mountain Rim Gymnastics Conference Bars Special of the Week for her performance last week, so we'll see if she can do well again for the Aggies in that mark. And Haley Pitu is getting ready for her run on the vault for the Cougars.
Really nice Yurchenko full there, just the smallest hop on the landing.
First up on the bars for your Aggies is Michaela Meyer.
Really great form in the air, stays nice and flat, and like I said, just that tiniest little hop.
And Michaela Meyer will be up first on the bars for the Aggies. Meyer did do very well in the vault in the previous rotation for the Aggies with that 9.9. A huge score for Utah State, so we'll see how she can do here on the bars.
Yeah, definitely looking for her to build off that momentum. Definitely off to a great start for her tonight. And that was a Delchev connected to an immediate overshoot. She taps her feet on the landing, so that will be a deduction. But hopefully she can finish it off strong. And just a step on that double back. And you can see there, she does have that sting mat on the 4-incher. That will not be a deduction at all. Just kind of helps save the ankles, which is totally okay this early in the season.
And there's Lexi Griffin.
Really beautiful in the air. She did have a lot of height on that Yurchenko half, and just had a little extra momentum and how to take that step forward.
Definitely had a lot of height on that one, though. P2 did score a 9.8 on the vault for BYU. The lead off for them. Up next for the Aggies will be Jessica Gutierrez, the sophomore out of Monterrey, Mexico. Got a career high of a 9.825 on the bars, so some good scores possibly incoming here. Finished with a 9.75 last week against Southern Utah as well.
Yeah, and something to keep an eye out for Jessica is that she's upgraded her dismount from last year to a double layout. So we would really want to see her kind of show off all that hard work that she put in this season.
Just waiting for that score to come in for Michaela Meyer here. Gutierrez waiting for that green flag to go up, and looks like it's about ready to go. So she will get set to go here.
Really nice Chappah shoot over. Really holds that handstand after the shoot over. Great double layout, slight hop on that landing, but other than that, a really great routine.
Let's check this one more time.
Beautiful in
Double
there.
layout. And here is Rachel Bain for the Cougars.
Big full, slight pike down and a slight hop back, but a great vault for BYU.
just that slight hop back.
Yeah, and I think that was coming from that pike down. So if she just were to hold it a little bit longer and stay flat, she'd be right there.
That is Bain's first time competing on the vault this season. Been a floor competitor for the Cougars so far, but this is her first time competing on the vault so far this year.
Yeah, I would say that was a great vault debut this season.
And here's Eve Jackson for the Aggies on the uneven bars. Got a 9.850 in both meets this season at Best of Utah and against Southern Utah last week.
Beautiful straddle Jaeger connected to an overshoot. Really going after those cast handstands. And the slightest step on that dismount, but a really great routine.
Let's check this out one more time.
Really great air and form throughout that.
And there is Angel Zong for the Cougars on the vault.
Yeah, just that slight hop, but other than that, a really great vault.
And for the Cougars, Griffith's score came in at a 9.775 on the vault and Bain at a 9.650 on the vault. Cougars averaging a 48.908 this year on the vault with a high score of a 48.950, so pretty consistent there, right around that 48.9 mark. And for the Aggies here on these uneven bars will be Grace Rojas, who currently owns the third highest average in school history on the uneven bars.
Yeah, Coach Smith said that she's the most consistent bar worker from last year and that she loves to compete. So let's see what she has in store for us tonight. Shapash connected to an immediate shoot over. A big double layout, just hop on that dismount.
Check out this one more time. Excuse us, there's Bennett with the vault for the Cougars.
Yeah, and she does a unique vault. She does a full on and back tuck off. Let's see if we can see it again in the replay. Very clean in the air, just that slight hop backwards.
And Brianna Brooks will be up next for the Aggies here on the bars, just waiting for those scores to come in for Grace Rojas. Brooks does have a career high set last week of 9.825 on the bars against Southern Utah.
And a huge ray connected immediately to shoot over. And she tries to hold on to that landing on the double layout, but has a slight hop forward.
So close to it as well.
Still a great routine though for the Aggies.
And here is Minor Alder for the Cougars.
A huge Yurchenko full. She gets so much distance on that and just the tiniest hop.
Just a slight hop there to round out the vaulting for the Cougars. And up next for the Aggies will be Leighton Varnador in an exhibition on the bars. Still waiting for some of these scores to come in for each of these two teams on their respective vault and bars. And it looks like we're going to have up here Eve Jackson with a 9.8 for the Aggies, and Grace Rojas got a 9.725. And then over for the Cougars, you've got Avery Bennett scoring a 9.850, so a big score there on the vault for them. Angel Zong with a 9.775, and then just waiting on Abby Minor Alder's score, as well as Brianna Brooks and Maya Fishwick for Utah State. Minor Alder actually coming in at a 9.850 as well. So the Cougars with some pretty good scores there. 3 scores over a 9.8 on the vault.
Yeah, that was a big vault rotation for them.
Coach Young has got to be happy with that vault rotation. Aggies just waiting on that final score for Maya Fishwick. Before Leighton Varnador is getting set to go in her exhibition on the bars for the Aggies. Varnador, the senior out of Aiken, South Carolina, does have a career high of a 9.8 on the bars. Excuse me, Maya Fishwick on the bars. I'm skipping people now. So we're waiting here on Brianna Brooks' final score for the bars.
Maya was actually training for the 2020 Olympics to represent New Zealand. Really clean chaposh, connected to immediate shoot over. Really beautiful there. Maya really has some beautiful lines here. And she did a really difficult blind double front and unfortunately did not, had to sit it down and did not have enough rotation to complete it. Just opened up a little bit too early.
Just a slight bit too early, and she would have had that. Fishwick did do very well last week on the bars, though, against Southern Utah. Got a 9.950 career high for her. Likely not happening tonight. And Brianna Brooks' score coming in at a 9.750 for the Aggies on the bars. So the Aggies with a fair amount of 9.75s on the board here on the bars.
Yeah, luckily though that they will be able to drop Maya's score. But other than that dismount, it was a really beautiful routine.
Fishwick always has some good routines there on the bars. One of her specialties, as it seems like. As we said, Fishwick was named the Mountain Rim Gymnastics Conference Bar Specialist of the Week for her performance last week. And here is Leighton Varnador now on the uneven bars in her exhibition.
Chaposh shoot over. She did have a bit of leg separation on that chaposh, but the shoot over was beautiful. And a great dismount, just a slight hop on that landing.
Overall, a very good routine here from Varnador in the exhibition.
Yeah, even though her score won't count, it's great for the Aggies to get back on track with a hit routine.
We will see one more vault from Utah State here, as Lexi Aragon will be competing in another exhibition not vault, excuse me, the bars. But your final score for this rotation, BYU finishes with a 49.050 on the vault. That is a season high for them, and Utah State with a 48.525 on the bars, which is a fair amount lower than Utah State. Utah State's usually very good at the bars this season. That's their best rotation, and just didn't hit tonight as well as they have the past 2 meets.
Yeah, I think they were looking for a big score from Maya, but unfortunately she did have that fall, but that would have been a routine that they would have liked to count and capitalize on.
And you know, other than that little fall there at the end, she did have a very good routine.
It was stunning. I will agree with that.
Other than that, it would have been a very good score for her.
Straddle Jaeger. Oh, I'm sorry, Takachev. Line full, connected to immediate double back. Slight hop on the landing, but she really sells it, throwing her head back and going to fist bump all of her teammates.
Pretty good run there in a routine there in her exhibition. Did score an 8.775 last week in an exhibition, so looking to improve on that score, and definitely did here tonight. So after these first 2 rotations, you can see on your screen there, BYU leading Utah State 98.025 to 97.175. We'll take a look at your final scores here on the vault and the bars. BYU with several 9.850s from Bennett and Minor Alder to get that score of a 49.050. And Utah State over there led by Eve Jackson with that 9.800 to give Utah State the 48.525. And what did you see from BYU here on the vault to give them that high score for the season of the 49.050?
I think what it came down to was just they gave away less deductions on their landings. Where for Utah State, we really saw them going after them, but we did see a lot of hops where BYU was maybe a little bit more controlled. And I think that's might be what gave them that edge.
Well, we will be back next with Utah State on the beam and BYU on the floor here on the Mountain West Network. .208 average. And then over on the Utah State side for the beam, they've got a 48.625 average. What are we looking to see from Utah State on the beam tonight?
Yeah, so I think Utah State really wants to cover some ground here right now. So what we're going to need to see from them is no wobble beam routines with stuck landings.
And there are the lineups for the floor and beam for each of these teams respectively. BYU on the floor will have Rachel Bain, Adeline Reeder, Avery Bennett, Abby Stainton, Brittany Viskauskas, Abby Minor Alder, and then some exhibitions from Lexi Griffith and Lindsay Hunter. And over on the beam for the Aggies, you've got Rebecca Wells, Leighton Varnador, Brianna Brooks, Taylor Dittmar, Autumn DeHardy, and Carly Bales for the scorers. And then Grace Rojas and Mikkel Ballard will be exhibitioning on the beam for the Aggies tonight. And Rebecca Wells getting ready to begin her beam routine here for Utah State. Gets the green flag. You can see it in the left side of your screen there. Here we get the better view of it.
Really solid side aerial. Coach Smith loves how solid Rebecca is and how she pushes into the beam. Really solid back handspring, back layout, step out. Gearing up for the dismount. Round off double full, and she sticks it. That was exactly what I was talking about. No wobble beam routines with a stuck landing. That is a great way for Utah State to start off this rotation.
We'll check out that dismount one more time.
So
Beautiful
solid.
landing, beautiful landing. And here is Rachel Bain for the Cougars.
Round up double back. Most gymnasts will have a back handspring in there, but she did hers just from a round off. Front layout, front fold, a front tuck. Very nicely done.
Nice to see some fun choreography here.
Yeah, and her teammates doing the dance with her on the sideline. Gearing up for her last pass here. And a Rudy to finish off the routine. Really solid start for BYU as well.
Next on team for Young is Leighton Bonadil.
There's that pass from her, and Leighton Varnador up next for the Aggies.
Beautiful back handspring back layout. Really solid there. Beautiful front aerial beat jump. Leighton was the beam lead off all last year because of how consistent she was, and you can really see that consistency right now in this routine.
We did get a season high 9.850 last week against Southern Utah here on the beam.
And a super unique gainer tuckable dismount.
It's always a fun dismount to see. Check out the end of that there. A good landing as well from Varnador. And here is Adeline Reeder for the Cougars here on the floor. Her first time competing officially on the floor, did exhibition last week for the Cougars at Boise State and finished with a 9.775, so coach is impressed enough to put her in the lineup now.
Looks like there's a slight delay with the start of her music.
Gonna come check it out maybe. Coaches are coming to look over to look at it at least.
Yeah, whenever something happens like this, it's important just to stay calm, keep saying your keywords.
Actually, it looks like they've had trouble getting the phone, her phone case off of the phone just to plug it in to be able to play the music here. So we're having phone case difficulties tonight. I don't know if that's something I've seen before here.
Neither have I, but she's doing a great job of staying calm and did exactly what she was supposed to do. Just walk off the floor and stay nice and loose.
Got to be a little nervy when something like this happens where they're, you know, you're sitting there waiting for your music to come on. And over here for Utah State, we're actually going to have Brianna Brooks competing in the beam. You can see it there on your screen now, while we're waiting for the music for the floor routine for Reeder.
Beautiful front arrow, back handspring, back handspring. She's such a fluid beam worker. It's really great to see.
Everything just looks so smooth for her tonight.
Switch to leap back handspring swing down, and she has some very unique dance coming out of it. Love her artistry and how she really performs on this event. Not something you always see from beam.
Definitely not. And there is the dismount from her.
And a stuck landing.
Very excited about that. You can hear the music changed in the background. Reader has started her floor routine, so here's that now.
BYU really has some fun dance we're seeing tonight.
You can see right behind Reader as well, her teammate doing the whole dance with her.
And a big double full connected to straddle jump. Gearing up for this last pass here. And a really clean Rudy, nice and controlled.
Overall, wonderful routine from Reader. Let's check out a replay of that pass. I believe her second pass there.
Big straddle jump coming out of that.
Up next for Utah State here will be Taylor Dittmar on the beam. Before Dittmar, Rebecca Wells finished with a 9.875 on the beam, as well as Leighton Varnador getting a 9.725 on the beam. Still waiting for Brianna Brooks' score to come in for Utah State.
One thing to keep an eye out for Taylor, she actually does her series with one arm. She'll do a one-arm back handspring back layout, and we've seen that series done by her other teammates, but they'll do two arms.
It's got to make it a little bit more difficult to only use one arm in your whole routine.
Definitely does.
You can see that one arm right there.
And she nails it. Feet jump split 3/4, and she's eyeing the beam as she lands that. Taylor's looking really solid up there tonight. Just the dismount. Back handspring 2 feet, 1.5, and just that slight step on that landing. But a super solid routine.
See, just a little hop there, but overall a great routine from Dittmar here on the beam. Brianna Brooks' score coming in at a 9.875, so two 9.875s here on the beam for the Aggies so far.
Aggies are really making a strong comeback. This is exactly what we want to see from them.
And that's with Autumn DeHardy coming up next, who was the beam specialist of the week last week in their conference for Utah State and currently ranking 5th in the nation in the beam. So some strong competitors coming up for Utah State next on the beam, but right now for the Cougars is Avery Bennett here on the floor, getting ready to start her routine.
Round of 1.5 connected to another round of 1.5 front tuck.
Gearing up for the second pass.
Really great height on that double back. Nice controlled landing. Looks like she's really having fun with this choreography here tonight.
Does have some fun choreography here in this routine.
Really solid routine. You'll see that she only did 2 passes, but that's because she was able to get all of her bonus through just those 2 passes and those leaps.
Those passes were filled with stuff in them as well. So, like you said, able to get all the points in those just 2 passes as opposed to 3 that we see from a lot of these other gymnasts tonight. And here is Autumn DeHardy for Utah State, last week's Mountain Rim Gymnastics Conference Beam Specialist of the Week. So we'll see if she can do well again to receive that honor for another time.
Flawless back handspring layout step out. Dances right out of that full turn. She's looking really confident up there. Really great form on those leaps. Oh, just a slight wobble on that dance, but it looks like she recovered very nicely. And a stuck dismount. Looks like the hardest thing for her tonight was that dance, because that was a no wobble on all of her skills and a stuck landing on that dismount.
Beautiful dismount from Autumn DeHardy, looking to eclipse her career high score of a 9.925 that she set last week.
Those were 5 really solid beam routines for the Aggies.
Here is Abby Stainton on the floor for the Cougars.
Really clean round off double pike, gets her chest up really nicely on that landing. Looks like she's really getting into this dance as well. Round off 1.5 to a beautiful split jump. Switch ring towards the Tay half, really dynamic there.
Really bringing out the rock in her routine tonight.
Exactly. And a great round of double back. She does a great job of getting her chest up on those landings.
Awesome routine there from Stainton.
So fun, and that was exactly what I was talking about. We love to see the girls really have fun out there and really get into their choreography.
And here is Carly Bales rounding out the scoring lineup here for the Aggies on the beam.
And she really has no pressure going into this routine. She can go big and aggressive since Utah State had 5 big hits right before her.
Autumn DeHardy finishes with a 9.850. So, like you said, 5 really good scores for the Aggies here on the beam. Let's see if Carly can do better.
Great front aerial back handspring, back handspring. She has really beautiful lines and extension on this event. Great switch leap tuck 3/4. Just the dismount left. Beautiful round up 1.5, just a step forward on the landing, but another really great routine.
Check these lines out from her. Beautiful, as always, that we see from Bales. And here is Brittany Vitkauskas for the Cougars here on the floor.
Very difficult front double full. Not a problem for her tonight. Switch side Topa, very dynamic. Brittany's just gearing up for her last pass here. And a beautiful Rudy to top things off.
Great run overall from Vitkauskas. Check out a replay here of one of those passes. Here is Grace Rojas exhibitioning for the Aggies on the beam. Carly Bales does finish with a score of a 9.825, so 4 of the 5 counting scores there. You see Rojas fall in there, but it isn't an exhibition, so
yeah, that was
scores don't count for this one.
Yeah, it looks like she was able to collect her breath there and restart, but she was doing a switch leap, and it looks like her front foot just slightly slipped off.
This is her first time competing on the beam this season.
Beautiful back handspring, back layout. Really getting things back on track now. Cartwheel gainer full with just a slight hop backwards on the landing. A really great routine other than that little fluke, I would say, at the very beginning. But we may see her later in this season, and I think that'll be a big routine.
Yeah, definitely. And here is Abby Miner-Alder rounding out the lineup for BYU on the floor.
And a huge double layout. Very nicely done there. Very dynamic leap as well. Great round off 1.5 front layout. Gearing up here for the last pass. Round up back handspring double pike. Had a slight extra step on that, but other than that, this was a big routine for BYU. Jam-packed with difficulty as well.
A lot of difficulty in this one for Minor Alder, and checking that out again. Should be a pretty solid score there for the Cougars. While we're waiting for that, we can see Mikhail Ballard on the beam for Utah State here. This will be the first time that Ballard has competed in her career here at Utah State, just a freshman, so only 2 meets under her belt so far.
It's really great to see how much depth Utah State has on this event. To be able to put 8 girls up tonight is not an easy thing to do.
And you can see her teammates behind her very excited for her first time competing.
Yeah, she's doing a great job, looking really solid up there. Just the dismount here left. And a stuck landing. That was a great debut for her.
What a way to start your career here in Logan. Let's check this dismount one more time.
Really nicely done. Really holds on to that. All smiles for the Aggies right now.
And here is Lexi Griffith and her exhibition for the Cougars on the floor. Getting it going with a little bit of queen here.
Really difficult front double full. She has a little bit of trouble with that landing, but that is a very difficult skill. It's rated an E, which gives her 2/10 of bonus just by doing that skill alone. Really beautiful switch side popa. And a solid Rudy to end things for Lexi.
Great routine there from Lexi, other than that little hiccup at the start, but is an exhibition, so can take things to work on. But here's one of these passes.
Round off 1.5 front layout.
It's a beautiful finish there from Griffith. So the Aggies done over there on the beam, just waiting for the final exhibition on the floor for the Cougars, as Lindsay Hunter will be set to go next on the floor. But looking at your screen right now, you can see the final scores after 3 rotations. BYU with the 147.275, Utah State with a 146.325. On the beam for the Aggies, they got a high score so far for the meet with a 49.150. So a great score for them on the beam. And then on the floor for the Cougars, a 49.250, almost matching their season high of a 49.275. So some good scores here in this rotation from each of these two teams.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that rotation. We saw a lot of difficulty, and it was very, very cleanly executed, I would say.
And here is Lindsay Hunter for the Cougars in her exhibition on the floor.
It's really great to see the variety of routines in terms of floor music and dance. You really get to see their personality shine through. Full front layout and sells that landing. Round off 1.5 front layout, very nicely done. Switch ring towards your half. Very elegant gymnast and has beautiful artistry.
Gearing up for her final pass here.
Ends it with a Rudy. Her chest was slightly down, but she really sells the landing.
We'll check out a replay of this pass. I believe her second one there.
Great form in the air. Really nicely done.
Overall good run there in the exhibition. Let's take a look at the individual scores for each of these two rotations. You can see here BYU with some monster scores on the floor. 3 9.875s and then that 9.8 from Reeder. And, you know, Rachel Bain with a pretty good score of a 9.775 herself, but it gets dropped because the rest of her team did so well, giving them that 49.250 for the Cougars on the floor. And then over for Utah State here on the beam, really good scores as well. They finished with that 49.150 and the high score there from Wells at a 9.875 and Brianna Brooks as well with that 9.875. So two really good scores over there on the beam. Overall great scores from each of these two teams in that rotation.
Yeah, exactly. For BYU, I think they did exactly what they wanted to. Rachel Bain started off really strong, set the tone, and they were able to build throughout and really capitalize on that event. And over on the beam, I think that Rebecca Wells had such a highlight performance, and her teammates were able to really capitalize on that momentum, and we saw a lot of no wobble beam routines with stuck landings. So I would say that these were two really great rotations.
And we will be back next with Utah State on the floor and BYU on the beam. Both teams looking to continue on what they just did in that rotation. So catch it here next here on the Mountain West Network. Back here to the Spectrum where Utah State and BYU are heading into their final rotations here in this meeting of two Mountain Rim Gymnastic Conference foes. And BYU almost a full point up heading into this final rotation. What does BYU need to do here on the beam to get the win tonight and secure their victory?
Yeah, so I would say it's very difficult to compete at end on beam at an away meet. But what they need to do is really stay calm and go after their stuck landings and their acro skills.
BYU has been very good at sticking these landings so far tonight. What does Utah State need to do here on the floor to be able to close that gap and possibly come out of tonight with a win?
I think they really need to go big. I know that Autumn's back in the lineup, so that will be great for them to have, but they really need a strong start and really need to have that momentum build so they can capitalize on this event right here.
Let's take a look at these lineups for each of the two teams real quick before they get going. And here on the beam for the Cougars, Lexi Mather leads them off. Then you got Angel Zong, Abby Minor-Alder, Sophia McClelland, Elise Rollins, Abby Stainton rounds it out. And then they will have two exhibitions with Elodie Cyrene and Rachel Bain. And for the floor, Utah State with Ariel Toomey, Hadley Homar, Leighton Varnador, Rebecca Wells, Michaela Meyer, and Autumn DeHardy rounding out the lineup. And then Eve Jackson will be competing as an exhibitioner for the Aggies here tonight on the floor. You can see that USU there. Each of these Utah State athletes in their floor routine will have a point at some point where they chant USU, and you know the whole crowd does it here as they're at a home meet. Pretty fun experience for the athletes here, and we're just waiting for Cougars here on the floor as Lexi Mather is getting ready to get set to start her routine on the beam.
Yeah, both teams are coming off really great last rotations, so it'd be really exciting to see if they can build off that momentum. Beautiful side aerial split jump. Gearing up for her series. Lexi looks really confident, which is exactly what you want from your leadoff.
Cougars want to come in with that strong leadoff on each of their rotations and have been doing that so far tonight.
Yeah, it's so important. It really sets the tone for the rest of the event. Just a slight hop on that dismount, but a great routine.
Take another look at this dismount. A little baby hop there, but a great routine to start off the beam for the Cougars. And for Utah State here is Ariel Toomey to lead off their floor routine.
Really great front double pull. This is a super fun, high-energy K-pop routine for her that is new this season.
And there you hear that USU coming in.
Ariel will do just 2 passes tonight. Since her first pass was so difficult, she is another one of those gymnasts who's able to get all of her bonus just in 2 passes.
Gearing up for her final pass.
Round off 1.5 front half. Really great routine.
And a great start to the floor for the Aggies here. Let's take a look at this pass. You can see right there, going into another one, a very difficult, and like you said, extra bonus points. That's why she only has to do 2 passes. But here is Angel Zong for the Cougars on the beam.
Gearing up here for her series. Back handspring back layout, and that was a great save. She really fought for that. Like I said, it's so difficult to end on beam at an away meet, but she did a really great job of really fighting for that. Round off 1.5 dismount, just a slight hop on that landing.
Let's take a look at this again. Good rotation there, just a little bit of that hop at the end, but overall, pretty solid routine for the Cougars as Mather before Zong finishes her beam routine with a 9.775. And here is Hadley Hamar coming up on the floor for the Aggies.
Really powerful round off that hamstring double back there. Followed up by some really fun and dynamic choreography. Another great round up back handspring double pike. Hadley really is a beautiful dancer, and it really sets her apart.
Just some elegant dancing from her, as I would think to describe it. That's the word that comes to mind for me.
Just gearing up here for this last pass. One and a half front layout, and a really great routine from her.
So a good routine from Hamar there. I'm checking out one of these final passes here. Excuse me, I believe that was the second pass.
Yeah, second pass, but got great height on that.
And here is Abby Miner-Alder for the Cougars here on the beam.
Slight wobble on that front toss.
That's two good saves from the Cougars so far on the beam tonight.
Switch leap split 3/4. Looks like she's really been able to regain control after that slight wobble at the beginning of the routine. Looks to finish it off nice and strong. Cartwheel gainer full, just a slight hop on that dismount.
There's a good dismount from Miner-Alder. And here's Leighton Varnador for the Aggies on the floor. Got some more rock coming in tonight.
It's so great to see their personalities come out through these floor routines.
Definitely is.
Great double pike. Very controlled landing and amazing power in that. Round off 1.5 front tuck. Just got that USU from her teammates on the sideline again.
Just gearing up for her final pass here.
Really really finishes strong with a round up back handspring double back.
Great routine here from Leighton Varnador for Utah State. And there's that double handspring, double pike.
So clean in the air and a really great landing.
And here is Sophia McClellan for the Cougars here on the beam.
And a very unique turn that she just did.
It's not one we see a lot here at Utah State.
Yeah, so she did that from a tuck stand and had some really unique dance coming out of that as well. Really great back handspring back layout. Feet jump, double stag. It's very difficult. She actually loses sight of the beams. Just the dismount. Back handspring tuck 1.5 and just a slight hop on the landing. But a very, unique beam routine, I would say, and very nicely done. Here's that really cool turn again.
Yeah, it's a turn I don't know that I've seen that here before in any of the meets I've been at here at Utah State.
Definitely, almost like some breakdancing coming out of that. It's really fun to see.
It's an awesome turn to see here. But here is Rebecca Wells competing for the Aggies on the floor.
This is also a new floor routine for Rebecca. Beautiful double pike. Aggies are doing a great job of controlling their landings tonight. Round up 1.5 step out to round up back handspring double full. Volunteer assistant coach Gracie Kramer has really been working with her on her performance quality so that her dynamic tumbling matches it, and I think we're seeing that tonight.
Definitely
Doing
seeing that
such a great
far.
job. A great Rudy to top things off. This was a big routine from Rebecca.
Good quality routine, and here's one of those passes. Double back handspring to double back pike.
Very nicely done.
And here is Elise Rollins competing on the beam for the Cougars. McClellan before her with a big score of a 9.825 on the beam for the Cougars.
See her smiling up there. She really looks like she's confident and is performing. Front aerial back handspring, very nice. She has great extension on this event. Another, turn that we don't see every day there. And a gainer full, and she holds on to that landing, and it's a stick.
I'm saying that's a stick.
I'm giving it to her.
If it's not, it's about as close as you possibly can get to one. Let's take another look at it.
There's that front aerial back handspring. You really can see her extension shine there.
Great run overall by Rollins. And Rebecca Wells with a great score as well, with a 9.825 in her last routine on the floor. But here is Michaela Meyer for the Aggies now.
Lots of power on that front layout, front Rudy. You can see the USU flashing in the back. Round off double back. A really solid routine from Michaela Meyer tonight.
She's got to be pretty happy with that one.
Here's that last pass again. She takes a pretty big step backwards. In the next meet, we're maybe looking for her to control that a little bit more, but overall, a really great routine.
And here's Abby Stainton for the Cougars, rounding out their lineup tonight on the beam. And Rollins before her with a monster 9.9.
A lot of difficulty in that. She did a hitch kick, front toss to back handspring. Just gearing up for the dismount here. Round off 1.5 and a stuck landing, exactly what you want to see in the anchor spot.
That's 2 sticks in a row for the Cougars, and just a wonderful dismount from Stainton here. The stick to go on top of it. 2 great routines to end out their beam rotation. And Utah State looking to do the same here with Autumn DeHardy finishing out the floor for the Aggies.
And the Aggies are so excited to have her back in the lineup tonight. That was a handspring front Rudy to a big Trishanova. Switch side, Popa to Popa.
She looks like she hasn't missed a beat out there right now.
Not at all. Looks like she's enjoying really getting into and performing to her home crowd.
Really exciting. Here's that last pass.
Another Rudy, it looks like a back pipe. Super nicely done and really sells that landing. Aggies are going to be happy with that routine.
Have to be really happy with that one. Michaela Meyer before Autumn DeHardy's routine got a 9.7. And here is some exhibitions for the Cougars here on the beam with Elodie Cyrene competing now.
Beautiful switch half split jump. Round up 1.5, just a slight hop on that landing.
Overall, very good routine for the exhibition. And the Aggies will have an exhibition on the floor as well. BYU with another exhibition on the beam as well. So Eve Jackson will be set for her exhibition here in just a moment on the floor for Utah State. And on the beam, BYU finishes out very strong. Rollins, we talked about, did get a 9.9, and then Stainton with a 9.9 right after her. So two massive scores for BYU on the beam tonight.
Yeah, really great way to close out that event for them.
And here's Eve Jackson now on the floor for the Aggies.
Lots of power with that double pike. She does go out of bounds. But she is in the exhibition spot, so maybe just had a little bit extra adrenaline from some nerves.
Yeah, being in this exhibition spot, you gotta wait a little bit longer than everybody else does.
Exactly. Comes back nice and strong with the front layout front full. Gearing up for her last pass here. And a great double back to cap things off.
And Eve Jackson with a great exhibition routine here on the floor. You see that double back right there to finish it off. A great routine there in the exhibition. Looking to crack into the lineup is she. And here is Rachel Bain on the beam for the Cougars now.
Feet jump split 3/4, very nicely done. Just the dismount left here. And a stuck round off 1.5.
And a good routine from her here. Finishing that off for the night. And you can see on your screen there, BYU with just the little edge there, 196.425 to a 195.157. Let's take a look at the final scores for this rotation as BYU does very well on the beam tonight, finishing with those 2 9.9s from Rollins and Stainton. And then over there for Utah State, finishing off strong as well, Autumn DeHardy with that 9.825 and Rebecca Wells also with that 9.825. Utah State finishing with a 48.850 and BYU with the 49.150. Huge score for the Cougars on the floor tonight, or on the beam tonight, excuse me, and floor as well. What did we see from BYU on the beam that allowed them to get that 49.150?
They really went after those landings. We see those two big 9.9s with those no wobble beam routines with stuck landings. That's a great way to close out that event. They didn't let the nerves get to them, and they really built off their momentum coming from floor and capitalized on this event.
And you see, we will be back after the break with the final awards and final score of the night here on the mountain. Welcome back here to the D. Glenn Smith Spectrum in Logan, Utah, as BYU and Utah State just finished the meet here, as BYU going to end up winning this one. But let's take a look at the final scores for each of these 4 rotations, starting out with the vault. BYU finishing with a 49.050 and Utah State with that 48.650. And the top 3 scores here, Michaela Meyer for the Aggies with that big 9.9, a personal record for her. And what allowed her to do that, Kaylee?
She had great form in the air, a huge block, and she drilled that landing. It was a nearly flawless vault.
And the next rotation here on the bars, BYU with that 48.975 and the Aggies with a 48.525. Leading it off is Haley P2 and Abby Stainton for BYU, both of them getting a 9.850. And next up on the balance beam, some big scores here for the Cougars with Rollins and Stainton both getting 9.9s, that 49.150 led by those 2 scores. And then Utah State with a big score as well here from Wells and Brooks with those 9.875s. And finally on the floor for each of these 2 teams, Abby Stainton and Brittany Viskauskas and Abby Miner-Alder, all with the 9.875s for the Cougars. Some huge scores there, leading them to that 49.250. And Utah State with that 48.850, giving us a final score for the night of BYU with a 196.425 to Utah State's 195.175. So Utah State with just a little bit below their season average in score, and BYU just a little bit above theirs. So each of those, Utah State will likely move down a little bit in the rankings after today, and BYU maybe possibly moving up after that. And, you know, what are some of the big things we saw tonight that allowed BYU to get out that, you know, big win tonight here in Logan?
Well, I think Utah State had actually a slow start, but they really came back strong in the second half, which was really impressive to see, where BYU was really consistent throughout the meet and had 5 big scores on each of the events, which is really what it comes down to.
BYU just barely missing out on getting a 49 in each of their rotations. The bars, they got a 48.975, so just 0.025 away from getting a 49 in every single one of their rotations tonight. And like we said, you know, 196.425, that's a very good score for the Cougars. Coach Young's got to be pretty happy with that tonight.
Especially for being an away score, they'll be very, very happy with that.
And each of these 2 teams will be on next week. The Aggies going to Boise State next February 6th at 6 p.m. And this is also a season high score for BYU, we've just heard, with that 196.425. And the Cougars next week will have their first home meet of the season against Southern Utah on February 5th in the Smith Fieldhouse. So both of these teams taking on some Mountain Rim Gymnastic Conference opponents next week, looking to increase their records. Utah State falling to 1-4 on the season, and BYU moving to 3-3. The Aggies now 1-3 in Mountain Rim Gymnastics Conference action, while the Cougars move to 3-1 in MRGC action. And as we see the final awards handed out here, you can see each of these. What do you think each of these teams can take from this meet moving forward? You know, it's still early on in the season. What do they need to improve on going forward?
I still think that they can save a lot of pens and landings. I didn't see as many suck landings as I would have liked to see, but you know, like we said, it's still early in the season, and there's room for them to improve on that. And I think it's also going to come down to some more of like the little details, more extension, so they're not giving away tiny tenths on like form-related things. But those are really, I think, are going to be the 2 main things that's going to separate the teams at the end of the day.
And thank you for tuning in here tonight for this contest between the Cougars and Aggies. Each of these teams back next week. I'm Adam Larson for my partner, Kaylee Cole. We say thank you for watching here on the Mountain West Network.